What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some news concerning Scott Quigg by popular demand. People wanted me to discuss my thoughts on Scott Quigg retiring. And first of all, anybody that retires, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. Simply because, take last year for example. We had 4 deaths, okay? So, and near deaths. You had Zab Judah and also Superman Stevenson, okay? Those guys were both in a coma at one point, and I believe that was last year. I know Superman Stevenson was definitely last year, and I think Zab Judah was either early last year or late 2018, okay? And that's what happens when you take too much damage, all right? Your brain swells, your adrenaline goes down, and, you know, the inflammation occurs, and then what they have to do, they have to put you in a coma. Now, sometimes you come out of that coma, sometimes you don't. So, from a health standpoint, it's a blessing. Retirement for Scott Quigg, I don't think it was going to come the way it did. Of course, he has 40 total fights, 35 wins, 26 by KO, 3 losses and 2 draws. Okay, and his last loss again by Juno Carroll, you know, I don't think that was expected. You know, he was stopped, and I think because of his performance, he decided to hang it up. Okay, now he's known for his wars with Oscar Valdez and Carl Frampton. You know, and you know those were hell of a fights. He was once a champion, so a lot of people can't say that at the end of the day. So he has accomplished what he wanted to accomplish, or he has accomplished championship status, you know, while he was fighting, and he needs to be thankful for that. Now, if there's anything that he has to offer his career, he might need to reconsider. But if he thinks that losing to Juno Carroll is a situation where it's time to hang it up, okay, I think that's better safe than sorry, people. Because there's a lot of people that fought way too long and they're not right now, okay? I think of a lot of guys, you know, Sugar Shane Mosley, Roy Jones Jr., a lot of people, you know, just fought too long. Arturo Gatti, another one. You know, the way he cuts and bleeds and all that, he should have been retired. But he retired in a similar fashion. Now, one thing you have to consider about Scott Quigg, if he decided to retire off the strength of this loss, I think what would be best for him is to come back, have one last fight, and then retire. Make sure you win. You don't never want to leave the sport of boxing with that question, with that doubt, with that regret, with that last memory of your boxing career being a defeat. Some people it helps them, some people it don't. It depends on your mental state, okay? If you're mentally like a guy that you harp on disappointments, then that loss ain't for him. But if you're a guy, that loss was probably the best thing that happened to you because it might have revealed to you that, hey, this is something I don't need to be doing, getting beat by opponents like that, okay? In that case, yes, it's a blessing because Juno Carroll is a fighter. Let's take a look at Juno Carroll for a second. He has only 1 loss, 4 wins by KO, total 20 fights. Okay, now he's a new kid on the block, and Scott Quigg looks at it as a guy like that should have been an easy pick'ems, or not an easy pick'ems, should have been a win for him. You know, again. Whatever convinced him, if this loss convinced Scott Quigg to retire, more power to him. You know, when I heard it, I wasn't really surprised. I look at it as a blessing that any fighter retires, but it may not be a good thing for the fighter himself to leave with a loss, okay? You know, take Roger Mayweather, for example. When he retired, he was coming off of 3 wins. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where, hey, it's time to hang it up. I think Scott Quigg, me counterpunching Scott Quigg, should come back for one last fight so he can end his career on a positive note and on a win. You know, because there's nothing like winning. Winning is a spirit that you get from hard work and dedication, strength, drive, commitment, and it all pays off with the win. Okay? Boxing is a mental sport, but it's also a physical one. If you come in there half-assed, we will see what's going on with you. We will see that for sure. Okay? Now, he only has, Scott Quigg only has 3 losses, but to him, he looks at it as a disappointment. But I wouldn't feel too bad for Scott Quigg, because at least he's getting out. Again, if it's something that told him to get out because this could be worse. Because what would you prefer? Him leaving right now, right? Him leaving out of the sport and said, you know what? I'm done. Or keep fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and losing and losing and losing. And then at that time, he's taking punishment. Maybe he doesn't have what it takes no more. Maybe he doesn't have the drive. Because if he decided to retire, maybe he might have thought of this a long time ago. Okay? Now, this just confirms it. Like, hey, it's time to go. It's time to hang up these gloves. I'm done. So, again, Scott Quigg, he will be remembered. He was a champion. He had a good record. And I'm glad that he decided to do what he needed to do, and most importantly, what's best for Scott Quigg. So a lot of fans that might say, oh man, he left too early or this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, you're not in that guy's shoes. You can't fight for that guy. That guy took punishment. That guy was a professional boxer. If you decide to retire, let's hope he has enough steaks in the freezer. Okay, that's another thing. Is he financially able to retire? So a lot of people, you need to question that. When I question a lot of these fighters, especially when they live the fast life and they're going to parties and they're hanging out with other celebrities and they're in this circle, they're in that circle, and all of a sudden, they can't fight the way they're supposed to fight or used to fight. Then they're forced to retire. Okay? And then, because they don't have the money when they retire, they're forced to go back into the ring. Prime example, one of the best heavyweights of all time, Joe Louis, the Brown Bomber. Okay? At the time, the federal government was suing him, of course, but he had to go back into fighting because he didn't have the money. Okay? The circumstances, the cards that dealt him, he wasn't financially able to retire like he wanted to, because all he wanted to really do is play golf, and he did. And for the record, Joe Louis, he was the one that broke discrimination from golf courses. Because a lot of them were all white golf courses, and they wouldn't let any African Americans play there. And he broke that barrier, by the way, okay, while he was retired, but he had to come back to the School of Hard Knocks. He had to come back. Okay, so let's just hope that's not Scott Quigg's situation. Let's hope that, some people on his team or his family or his wife or what a significant other, was able to put things back so they can be prepared. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Scott Quigg retiring from the sport of boxing. Should he retire? Should he come back? Is it farewell? You guys tell me. Of course, please subscribe. And you all been Counterpunch. Peace.